Hello friends, you're the Lonesome Gamer, and this is gonna be the last video of 1841. At the moment, it's a very close run between this player here and this guy over there. They basically have the same in cash, more or less. Seems like this guy might have 200 bucks more. And when it comes to certificates, this guy is probably holding the more valuable ones. Although this is also really close. He's also somewhere up there. He's got a lot of money in hand, actually the most, about 2,000 bucks. But he doesn't have a very good certificate, a value, or a very good portfolio. He did a merger now to improve it a little bit, and now he's be able to buy some other shares. But in the end, his shares are just not good enough. And the other two are basically then competing for, probably for the fourth place. This guy and that guy here. And this one is definitely gonna be last. Okay. And we're not gonna see that much happening, I guess. That many big things going on. We have a stock round, obviously. All the people have quite a bit of money, a lot of money actually, but it doesn't really make sense to start a new company now. I mean, they could do it. The thing is that the green company will now move the 3 spaces ahead in the next cycle of operating rounds. And if it enters that last space, the game immediately ends. So that means that the green company, the Cavour, will have 3 more runs, while all the others only have 2 more runs. Now if you start a new company, that means that company will only have a single run because it starts without trains. That means the overall share price will not rise because it drops first and then it goes back to its starting place. And okay, you might get a few $100 bucks out of this run. But there are also quite a few shares out there to buy. So I guess in the end, it's not really such a great idea to start the company now for a single run. I think I'm not going to do a lot on camera during the stock round. Basically, people try to get shares of this company here and this company here. They also don't have to be afraid that someone will dump a company on them. Therefore, they don't have to care if they hold 20% or more. They just try to get what they can get. Possibly a lot of high valuable shares. And apart from these, we have 9 shares overall in these 2 companies. We have also these 2 shares out there, and they are also both now doing much better, especially the Latina, but also the Alta Italia is now in a reasonable shape, and it definitely makes sense to invest here. So I'm at the end of the stock round, and there are no more shares, so people cannot buy any more shares, obviously. This guy is at his certificate limit. He isn't. He would still have money to buy 2 or so, but, well, as I said, there are no more out there. He is at the certificate limit. These guys have 10 instead of the 11 they can hold. And this guy up there is also at the certificate limit. Okay, so we're gonna start now our last cycle of operating rounds. And also here I think we cannot expect the most interesting thing happen as usual in these late operating rounds when all the companies more or less have established the track they want. But there might be still a few things going on. Someone might want to go to Trento, for example. And I think what we've seen in this game is that there were quite some interesting things going on in later operating rounds. I mean, for example, in the last 3 operating rounds, there was a lot going on, a lot of dotting and a lot of trying to get around these things. So the map was definitely interesting even at the end of the game. It's interesting, the Cavour actually isn't doing that great. Right now they only make $500 because this is all blocked now. So they can go from Torino and then like this to Milano and then here into the north to Gotthard. That's a $500 run. No, that's not true. I think it's 520. But is it? No, I think it's 500. But overall that's not satisfying. And it will not allow them, well, actually it would allow them to move to the highest space. Still, they're gonna buy themselves another 8 train. They have the money easily. Oops. Because all the shares were sold out. And we need another $50. There we go. Okay. And that 8 train then allows them also to go in the eastern area. And the idea is basically to go from Milan down here, and then bust through here and go to Trento. The Garibaldi, the red company, did run from here, the east again to Roma, and they're also gonna buy themselves. They upgraded Venice, so maybe they can, if someone makes a connection to Trento, maybe they can also then somehow connect here. I don't know if that's very helpful though. Well, we'll see about that. Anyway, they're gonna buy themselves a train, and that is gonna be the last available train out there. So the newly formed CTS holds now 2 trains, a 6 and an 8 train, and they make an amazing 1010. The 6 train goes from Marseille, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 via Milan to this one here, and the 8 train will go from Milan down here, following this route here via Firenze down here to the Adriatic coast. So the Regia made a connection here to Trento, the orange one, and they can make an insane run of $1,200. I think that's pretty much the highest run that I've ever seen in an 18XX game. They got 2 8 trains, so they start in Marseille and go to the Gotthard. This way here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then that's 7. Remember, the passes don't count if you have an 8 train. And then they have the second 8 train. And with this guy, they start here, then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And that gives them $1,200. Second operating round, the green one already did their run. They will have one more run to end the game. That means that all the others now have exactly one run, so their last run. And I want to show that so that we can see where they ended up. Well, we have the Garibaldi managed to also get a really good run. They have now 2 trains, a 7 and an 8 train, and they made $940. So the first train went from Trento via Bavova down here, and then to Roma. And the second train started in the east, took these little $20. Venice, they managed to do this intersection here, and then via these trains here to Milan, and that gives them a lot of money. Here's the thing, I think they can actually do better. If they start here in the east, they can simply go like this, because they went from Trento down here, so they don't even have to use this intersection. For some reason I missed that. So yeah, they can simply start in the east, and instead of taking these 20 here, they can take the 50 here. And that brings them to, let me see, that's 740. That's another 30. I think that brings them then to, oh boy. Yeah, you need bigger tables for that. That's 740 plus 230. That's 970 then, I think. So here's an interesting factor. I didn't realize that. The bank will break in this operating round. And the interesting thing here is usually you play at mostly one more operating round, or you play to the beginning of the next stock round or something. In this game, you simply play to the end of that operating round which is going on. So that means that that the Cavour will not have that last run they were speculating on. That will be a significant loss of money for this guy over there, because it also includes the increase of share value, which is about $50 per share. That would have been about 200. That would have been 250, and they make a good run. That would have given him probably another, I don't know, maybe another 400 or something. So he is losing about $650 because of that. And that actually might cost him the game. So, interesting. I didn't know. I didn't expect that. I checked the rules now, but it's a fact. If the bank breaks, the game ends by the end of the ongoing operating round. And because I wanted to show the last run of every company, but I did expect to do the Cavour another run, well, we're not going to see that, so I'm going to show you the run they did. And it wasn't terribly impressive. I mean, it was good, but they have 2 trains. Sadly, this is blocked Torino, so they could only go basically from Torino like this. No, they couldn't even do that. Like this here to the Gotthard. So that wasn't too great with their 7 train. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then they could run their 8 train, and they also did from Trento 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they made it to Milano. So it was a good run. It was also, I think it was more than a little more than 1,000. No, I think it was closer. Yeah, they did this 990 run. So they didn't quite break the 1,000. Okay, so because the bank will break for sure this turn, I've thrown in a few thousands here and exchanged money, and now we can operate this easier. So we're going to see the CTS now operating, and they're also going to be beyond 1,000. I'm pretty sure about that. They can make easy. They can go basically from Marseille. They got a 6 train, so that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, that is, yeah, exactly. No, that makes sense. And then they can make an 8 run from Milan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the Adriatic coast. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be beyond 1,000, but we're going to see. So indeed, the CTS made 1,040, and that means for this guy a lot of money. 444, 544, wow, and another 80. So he gets 624 out of this single run. And of course some others will also make money. So the Raja even managed to go further. They make now 1230. The first train started in Marseille, Torino, and then via Milan to the Gotthard. And is that true? Yeah, I think so. The second train starts in Torino and then goes like this also to Milan, and then like this through here, then goes up here north to Trento. And yeah, that's, I think it was 1230. We see for the Alta Italia a 540 run, starting here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The Latina is doing the Adriatic run, starting here, it's the green one here, starting here in Milano, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that is worth 560. Okay, so I've counted everything. We have a clear winner here. Player 1 actually managed to defend his leading position. It looked sometime that he might be able to catch up, but in the end he didn't. He holds 8,336, and the other guy is basically $1,000 short, 7,344. Although he has a slightly better share value of 4,642 against 4,496. Now it would be interesting to imagine if this thing would have gone up. That's kind of an interesting question now. Let's imagine this would have gone up. That would have given him another $250, and the run himself, that last run, would have given in about 500. So it would be pretty sure not enough. It would have been extremely close, but he still would have been about $250 short, even if this company would have had one additional run. If the bank would have not gone, if the bank would not have braked, that would have been the case, and that would have then ended the game. But in this case, it didn't happen. Okay, third player then is actually this guy here. Pretty close with him. Difference is only about $300. Third one is 4883, and the next one then 4,549. No, that's actually not correct. Actually, the third player is, of course, this guy. This guy over here, 6,735. With a ton of cash, even more than the second player. And then the fourth player is going to be this guy. Fifth player is this guy here. And of course, last player is him with 2,024. Only $800 in cash, and also by far the lowest share value, 1,195. But okay, I mean, he nearly went bankrupt, so it's extremely hard to come back with only 2 shares and basically no money. I think that's what was the case. He only held the presidency of one company, and that's it. And well, I mean, he managed to recover a little bit. At least he didn't lose money compared to the starting money. So yeah. Okay. So let's find a few words for this game. I can tell you, I absolutely love it. I love all the 18xx games that I played until now. I think these are all wonderful, excellent games. But this one is, I think, the best. The best of the of the ones I played now. I enjoyed it a lot. I really like the map. There is a lot going on, a lot of fighting for the dot positions, for the passes. Always these narrow areas where you got to cut through. Of course, most of the money is sitting here, but there was also something going on elsewhere. You know, we've seen these nice runs in the east here, and we've seen also runs in the south for a while, and also still at the end of the game, the SFLI did this run with a 6 train here in the south. So sometimes you can see games where basically most of the things happen on a specific side on the map. It's a little bit like this here. Of course, the concentration sits here in the west, but there is also a lot going on in other areas, simply because the trains are so big and so powerful that if you really want to run them, you basically have to go to other areas. Otherwise, it's just such a waste. So what is it that I like about this game so much? And I thought about this for a while, and was it the changing borders? Was it the companies that are able to buy shares? What exactly was it? And it's the whole package that makes it so fascinating. In other games, I don't know, like let's say in 56, you can say, yeah, the loans are just amazing and I absolutely love them, and they add a cool mechanism, cool ideas to the game. In 1822, you can say, okay, the auction mechanism is great, the local trains are fun, and you have the minor companies. 1854 gives you the minor map and the Lokalbahn. You have 4 different types of companies. You can build tunnels, you can do all kind of crap. That's all nice and sweet, and I really, really enjoy these games. Don't see that the wrong way. But this game, what this game does, you don't have the feeling that it adds a lot to the 1830s system. The feeling I get is that it takes away a lot of the system. And what it does, it takes away the restrictions that the other systems or the other games give you. At least most of the restrictions. And it feels also natural and just perfectly smooth and easygoing. Companies can buy shares. Of course, why not? Players can trade shares between each other. Yeah, let them do it. Companies can merge. Of course, why not? There is no reason not to. You can trade tokens between companies. Yeah, of course, let them do it. It's all good. You can start companies wherever you want to. Hey, fine, let's go ahead. All these things. It doesn't feel like tons of things are added to make the game somehow more interesting. No, it's exactly the contrary. A lot of restrictions are just removed from the game. And you got a feeling like you can finally do whatever you want to do. And by the way, that is also something I love about 1860. There are still restrictions in the game when it comes to things like how many shares you can hold, about the bank pool, certificate limit, and all that stuff. In 1860, they remove most of that crap, and that is something I also love about this game. Here, this remains, but you have a lot of other options that you're simply not allowed to do in other games. And the thing is, what I really don't understand, this is a fairly early game, right? It's about, I think, in the mid-90s or something. So it's not one of the really early games of the 18XX series, but it is still, it's an older game. And the whole system for me feels actually pretty clean. The rules are a total mess, there is no doubt about that. But once you understand how this works, it gives you so many options, but it all feels so natural and clean to me. And I find it kind of strange that in future games, these options were not explored more, Why didn't they go down this path a little more? You can see, for example, in 1822, this is a super successful game with great ratings, and now they're doing these little, well, you might call them spin-offs, or there is actually now an 1822 branch. They got 1822, the base game, they got 1822 Mexico, 1822 Canada, and I think they're planning even more stuff. So I kind of find it strange that you don't see games where you got all these basic concepts here, which seem perfectly logically to me. And then they come up with, I don't know, some additional crazy ideas, I don't know, tunnel building or whatsoever. And yeah, so I think that is a little odd, because the game is so fantastic, but for some reason, in future games, you don't see most of these concepts anymore. You see the minors and the majors. I don't know if they've shown up in another game before. I think 2038 was later. I think 18EU is also a later game. And I don't know a game that has the minors before, but I might be wrong about this. I don't know too much about these 18XX games. Maybe this is actually the first game where the minors really operate like major companies, with just the exceptions that they basically have 40% and 20% shares and a few minor exceptions. But we see that, of course, in other games. But apart from that, not a lot. The mergers, you have mergers in other games, but they are very, very restricted. In 1854, I know you can merge, but only at a very specific time. In 1856, the big railroad will happen at a specific time. But it's not like in this game, where you can just, you can just do it whenever you want to do it. And the only restriction is basically that there has to be a connection between the railroads, and okay, it cannot be across borders, and only 2 minor or 2 major railroads can do it. But apart from that, you can basically do it at any time, whenever you want to do it. Great. That's just great. And it makes sense, you know. I find that more logical than saying you can only do it exactly at that specific time. Well, why? It's a little odd. But yeah. I think 1817 also does these things. I don't know. I haven't played 1817 yet, but it seems you have a lot of financial options there too. So maybe this goes into a similar direction. But yeah, there's actually not so much more I can say about this game. I enjoy the freedom that I have here really a lot. I like the map. And I also love the big runs, of course. I think that's awesome. You know, it's just fun if you play your usual games. And here you can make very early in the game runs of 400 and even 500 bucks sometimes. And then at the end, you have runs that are worth more than 1,000. That's fun, you know, it's just fun. And yeah, just great. Awesome game, absolutely fantastic. Can highly recommend it. Is it a beginner's game? Well, it's hard to say. Probably not, because there are definitely more rules than in games like 1830. But I think it's not that terrible as many people think. I think it is maybe on the same level as 1822 or 1854, which are, in my opinion, also really heavy games with a ton of rules. And if people help you here, and if 1 or 2 people know the game well, I think it's actually not so bad, you know. You need someone who helps you a little bit with these historical things, with the secession and the Tuscan merger. And then you need someone who explains you the mergers in a way that you understand it. Because if you read the rules, it's a total disaster. Basically, you got 2 rule books. You got the rules, and then you have the FAQs. And if you want to learn the rules, you really have to constantly read them both, right? And there are a lot of FAQs here, because some rules you only will understand if you read these, and there are also some corrections and all. So you're gonna need both of that. Otherwise, you cannot understand it. But if you make this, if you write that stuff new, it's not that bad, you know. If you make this one single rule book, it is not that bad. And yeah, most complicated things are probably these historical, these 2 historical things. Apart from that, not a big deal. By the way, starting a company is also, I think, more interesting here. The fact that you have to decide how many tokens you want, that's just great. You got to buy them at the beginning of when you start a company. Fantastic concept. And then also, depending on where you start your company, you know, that real freedom that you can do it basically wherever you want, at least once the borders have fallen. And then, but depending where you do it, these tokens become much, much more expensive. So that is just a fantastic idea. And it makes sense. Why would you be restricted to start only at a single space? Okay, I can see the historical aspect of the game, but here you have simply, in addition to this historical aspect, you have just so many more options. And that's just great. And by the way, people who are afraid that because of these, that the borders fall always at the same time, and because of the secession and the Tuscanian merger, that this will all be the same. There are variants in the game. Yeah, there are. I don't know, is it that one? No, it's in the rules. I think there are about 6 different, well, call them hypothetical scenarios. Yeah. different Italian reunification variants, Napoleon's project, Caver's plan, Wilhelm's idea, Carlo Alberto's dream, Franz Josef's gambit. And they all make these, everywhere there, these historical aspects work in a different way. And so there is a lot of replayability there too. Okay. It's hard to get. That's the main problem. It's not easy to get. And to be honest, I don't think GMT will publish this game, or we're gonna see a reprint of this. That's a shame. But yeah, it seems that most people are so afraid of that it's kind of a little bit unpopular. You know, it's this monster that everybody sees just as a grail game, but everybody is also afraid to play it. Anyway, it's not as bad as it seems. Actually, it's fantastic. Hope to see you on the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.